Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Xavier Smith, and today I'm going to be talking about human population and a ton of the ins and outs of it. So let's start with a review. Vocab term. Carrying capacity is the maximum number of individuals in a species that an environment can support for the long term. So if this population goes above the carrying capacity, well, the environment can't support them for a long time, so they're going to die off. If it's below the carrying capacity, well, environment can support some more organisms, so those organisms can come up again. That is called logistic growth when there's carrying capacity involved. Then there's demography, which is the study of human population size, density, distribution, movement, and birth and death rates. So demography is basically just the study of the human population and like everything about it. Then historically, humans lived under the environment's carrying capacity, which would be like down here. We were steadily growing, but we didn't have a very large population like 2 million years ago. In 1500s, we didn't have a large population either. But just in recent times, in like industrial revolution and modern years, we got a bigger population. So why do we have such a large population now? Well, agriculture, domestication of animals, medicine, improvements to shelter, they're just a few of the ways that we've changed our environment's carrying capacity because we've gotten rid of limiting factors like food. If food was an issue, well, we just domesticate animals or we just farm for it. So over time, just at the Industrial Revolution, when we got a ton of new inventions, that is when our population really skyrocketed. And modern years, it is still going up. But as you can see, our estimates are that it will keep going up, but it will start slowing its growth down because that's what we've seen in recent years, that our population growth is slowing down. That's what we're talking about right here. So our population keeps growing. It keeps growing pretty rapidly, but that growth rate is slowing down. So you can see in 1950s, we had some drops, but we were up at like 2.2% per year, and we stayed up there for a while, and then we just took a massive hit in like 1975, and it's just been going down since. And then we're just expecting that growth rate will keep going down, and it'll probably hit like a little line. Maybe some things will influence it, but and population keeps going down because people are doing voluntary population control as well, where it's like they don't have so many kids. And then we're going to talk about trends of the human population, which are there's similar economies, and those usually have similar population growth rates. Now, a change from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates, like developing countries like Kenya, they have high birth rates and they also have high death rates. Their children die, but they give birth to a lot of people. And the United States has a low birth and death rate. So we give birth to less people. Our population is growing a little slower, but our people live a lot longer. And that change from high birth and death rates to low birth and death rates is called a demographic transition. And it could also go from low birth and death rates to high birth and death rates. Don't know why you would want that, though. And then there's the population growth rate as a percentage is our birth rate minus our death rate plus our migration rate divided by 10. Now we are going to keep talking about some trends. If you measure your population growth rate and you get 0, that is called zero population growth, which is ZPG. This is when birth plus immigration rates equal death plus emigration rates. So birth and immigration, amount of new organisms, people coming into your population, if that equals the amount of people exiting your population while you're in zero population growth. What this means is age structure should be more balanced when there is zero population growth. So, well, what is age structure? Well, it is the number of males and females in each of 3 groups. There's a pre-reproductive stage, a reproductive stage and a post-reproductive stage. So that means when we're in zero population growth, the pre-reproductive stage should be about the reproductive stage, should be about the post-reproductive stage. Now we are going to compare a developing country and an already developed country, which is Kenya and the United States, as I've mentioned before. So here at the bottom, these are our ages. There's pre-reproductive, well, it's our stages, pre-reproductive, reproductive, and post-reproductive. And then there are the percents of the population. Note that women are red and men are blue. So in Kenya, we see large amounts of the population on male and female. Male and female on both of these graphs look pretty similar. So we're just going to talk about them as a whole. In Kenya, there are a ton of children and people in the pre-reproductive stage. But then as we go on, we're just losing people fast. This is high birth rates, but also high death rates. That's usually what developing countries have. They give birth a lot, and their children die. There's a lot of diseases. They don't have time to take care of them as much. There's a ton of things that go on. So by the time you get here to the post-reproductive stage, there's not many people. And reproductive stage, there's a good amount of people, but most of the population is children here. Now, if we look at the United States, which is a developed country, it's a little more stable. We have like 4% of our population is just born to pre-reproductive. You can see it looks like pre-reproductive is pretty stable. Then reproductive, it looks like is higher than pre-reproductive, but it also looks pretty stable. And over time, sometimes we're just growing, which does not happen in developing countries because people are just dying off the things. They're slowly dying off at random times in life. But in developed countries, we are living longer. We have better technology, better medicine, better everything. So developing countries usually have low birth rates, but low death rates as well. So we live longer, and you'll see these growths within the chart. If it's growing, and if this chart's growing from the pre-reproductive stage, it's probably a developed country. And if it is just large pre-reproductive, always going down, it's probably a developing country. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful.